On the 16th day since the end of the elimination. Solar System, Mars. Luo Feng was on the sand-filled Mars, testing out his Narration armament. 1st form, go return. Luo Feng controlled that dark golden long rod that became a golden rainbow and flew at breakneck speed and returned. And while controlling this golden rainbow's complex arc movements, it was very clear that his sense of control was still rigid, as he was unable to fully make it move like a flowing river. Within the arena fights, my opponents will all be extremely powerful. The lowest would at least be like my big brother. There will be many with similar strength to mine. There might even be others who are much stronger than me. Then, I'm afraid I'll have to use the Narration armament immediately. Luo Feng was very clear that there were only strong opponents in the arena fights. He'd have to use his trump card from the beginning and push forward. Hopefully he'll make it into the top 1,000. Only that way will he have the right to go compete with other absolute warriors from the other universe countries. Luo Feng, hurry into the virtual universe. Barbata's voice resounded, HM. Luo Feng was curious. Virtual Universe Black Dragon Mountain Island, 9-star base small district. When Luo Feng appeared outside his own home, he could see that his living room was filled with many guests. Big Brother, Hong and Thunder God are currently inside entertaining the guests. You should quickly go in. Luo Hua said as he saw Luo Feng. Who are they? Luo Feng asked curiously. Didn't he reject every organizations from coming here? It's the Black Dragon Mountain Empire's envoys who were especially sent by the Emperor himself. Luo Hua said softly, this special envoy team, I heard they actually brought an order from the Emperor himself. The special team is led by a sector lord and I heard that his position is extremely high. Also, within the team there's also the basic level universe country the Silver Blue Empire's Emperor. Silver Blue Empire's Emperor. Luo Feng was shocked. The Silver Blue Empire governed over the Milky Way's 8 great galaxies. This emperor actually followed a special team over. Their visit this time is mainly because of you. Luo Hua said, I'll go take a look. Luo Feng nodded, and walked briskly into the living room. There were a total of 11 people in that living room. Thunder God, Hong and the other 9, who no one recognized, were all sitting at the long table. 30. Third brother. Thunder God and Hong stood up. The other 9 turned to look, and simultaneously 8 of them stood up. Only one old man in the center with long silver hair remained seated as he turned to carefully examine Luo Feng, revealing a smile. Luo Feng, I, Byuda Asuka, am here on behalf of the Black Dragon Mountain Empire's Emperor. My respects, Lord Asuka. Luo Feng quickly bowed. Having been to the Ganwu auction and seen too many sector lords, Luo Feng could tell with one look that this silver-haired old man was a sector lord. All sit. The silver-haired old man smiled. Luo Feng too walked over and sat beside Hong and Thunder God. Luo Feng, there are 2 reasons behind my visit. 1. I really wanted to see this outstanding genius from our Black Dragon Mountain Empire. This silver-haired old man, even his beard was white, his entire being seemed amicable and kind, giving off a feeling of friendliness. 2. Because His Majesty, yes, His Majesty is paying very close attention to you. He values you and wants to handsomely reward you. Luo Feng was shocked. That Emperor probably didn't know about his past incident with the 9th Prince. Lord Byuda Asuka, actually I didn't do anything. I just did some of my own things only. Luo Feng said, no. The silver-haired old man shook his head. Luo Feng, this endeavor of yours has brought huge honor to our Black Dragon Mountain Empire. The countless citizens of the Empire are all proud because of you. You have given us immense contributions. Luo Feng could only sit there and listen intently. Originally, the Emperor wanted to give you a reward. The silver-haired old man looked at Luo Feng, however, he stopped when I advised him to not give you one temporarily. Luo Feng looked at the sector lord before him, even more clueless than before. I advised His Majesty, if Luo Feng is able to make it into the top 1,000 of the Ganwu universe country, then he'll give you a galaxy. The silver-haired man said, a galaxy. Luo Feng, Hong and Thunder God were all shocked. From what I know, your first planet territory is Earth. Hence, as long as you are able to make it into the Ganwu universe top 1,000, then Milky Way galaxy under the Silver-Blue Empire will be yours. The silver-haired old man carefully examined Luo Feng and his brother's reaction. As he expected, Luo Feng and his brothers all revealed incredible shocked expressions. The Milky Way. That was the territory of the Silver-Blue Empire. Relax, this is the Silver-Blue Empire's Emperor Yi Wei. This matter is something the imperial family of the Silver-Blue Empire has agreed upon. The silver-haired old man looked beside him. A handsome, white-clothed man not too far away from him smiled and nodded at Luo Feng. I too have been wanting to meet Mr. Luo Feng. If Mr. Luo Feng can manage the Milky Way galaxy, that would be our Silver-Blue Empire's honor, HM. Luo Feng was stunned. Suddenly he realized and understood. Ganwu Universe Top 1000. One had to know that the Ganwu Universe country had over 100 million galaxies, on average. To be able to make it into the Ganwu Universe Top 1000, the warriors would probably all at least have domains of level 9, some even had comprehension of the origin laws. In the star level, and being so terrifying. These sort of geniuses, as long as they didn't die halfway, and continued to grow, reaching the sector lord level was almost no problem. And these sort of geniuses who receive extra nurturing, they would become the strongest within the sector lord level. A sector lord would easily get a galaxy as a territory. Right now it was akin to giving a future sector lord a galaxy as territory. Even if Luo Feng died along the way of becoming a sector lord, the Black Dragon Mountain Empire and the Silver-Blue Empire naturally had their own ways to reclaim the Milky Way. This reward is too huge. At the same time, making it into the top 1,000 is incredibly difficult as well. Luo Feng's expression went ugly, right? The silver-haired old man Asuka nodded and sighed. It is very difficult. Our country's martial strength is indeed weaker than the universe country's other starfields. In the previous competitions, we didn't even make it into the top 10,000. As for the top 1,000, it's been even longer since we even stepped into it. However, Luo Feng, you have hope. Here is some information that our empire has collected. The silver-haired old man pulled out a screen before him. He gently tapped it. I'll send these to you. Information. Luo Feng was suspicious. Simultaneously, Barbata alerted him that he received mail and there was an attachment on it. Even though the eliminations weren't broadcasted, according to the names of the rankers, along with the already reputable strong star levels, we've collected quite a bit of information. The silver-haired old man smiled as he looked at Luo Feng. We've made a record of a total of 827 of the absolute geniuses that made it through this elimination round. They are all very well-known and reputable absolute geniuses in the Ganwu Universe country. Take a look. This information may prove useful to you during the arena fights. Oh. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Good stuff. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. After knowing the opponent's trump cards and being prepared for the battle, his chances of victory were much better, thanks. Luo Feng thanked him. No need. The silver-haired old man smiled and looked back. If you can make it into the top 1,000, Ada Asuka will in fact have to thank you. I'll work hard. Luo Feng nodded. Right. This is one of the hopes of our Black Dragon Mountain Empire. Make it into the top 1,000 as you fight against the many geniuses from the other universe countries. At least, our Black Dragon Mountain Empire will have someone who's made it onto the universe humans big stage. The silver-haired old man's eyes gleamed with a sense of hope. He was a sector lord, and a very strong one at that. However, even amongst sector lords there were differences. This sector lord, compared to Jiang Tianchen, his position and power was much lower. And Jiang Tianchen, if compared to the virtual universe company Leviathans specially nurtured from young absolute geniuses, his position would be much lower. For the virtual universe company to have that level of Leviathan, their specially nurtured geniuses, they were nurtured to not only become undying, but the strongest among the undying. Naturally these were all too far away. From the star level to undying, it was too far and difficult. Many absolute geniuses have been stuck in the sector lord pinnacle for tens of millions of years before finally dying from old age. Work hard. In the Ganwu universe arena, you represent the Black Dragon Mountain Empire. Even more so when you battle against the peak of the other universe countries. The silver-haired old man anticipated, right? Luo Feng nodded. Luo Feng, Hong and Thunder God gathered and spent 3 days going through the information of the many warriors, 8th world ranked 3rd. Stronger than me. Hong's expression was serious. The screen before them was displaying footage. In it was a golden-haired tall and sturdy man, with a golden scale on his forehead. He used 2 huge blades and when he waved them, they would become blurry and the surroundings warped. Even though the blades were obviously there, when the opponent tried to block they would block only air. One slash and the opponents would die. This person's light domain seemed even more terrifying than Hong's. This is savage. He is indeed very strong. Luo Feng squinted, his eyes filled with excitement. Right, that's him. Thunder God nodded, indeed very strong. Hong's expression grew even heavier. Footage played continuously, many with words and information below. These were all the absolute geniuses' information the Black Dragon Mountain Empire had gathered. These geniuses, many of them were already well reputable even before the genius battle. They were already vied for and snatched up by many super organizations. This punk, Thunder God stared. A similarly bald strong-looking man in the footage actually used his fists as weapons as every punch was incredibly brutal and powerful. Using 3 days to finish watching everything, made both participants of the arena fights, Hong and Luo Feng, begin to feel the pressure. There were indeed many strong warriors, as many as the clouds. They were only at star level, yet they were able to comprehend the origin laws. This was akin to a step to heaven. However, with the size and population of the entire Ganwu universe country, there were actually a few hundred such people. Time passed and in the blink of an eye, the date of the arena fights had approached. Qian time year 2066, July 16th, the day before the arena fights, virtual universe, on one of the floating continents above the Ganwu continent, there was an enormous meeting hall. The hall was extremely huge, with rows and rows of seating. This hall is really huge. It actually seats 100,000. Hong laughed as he exclaimed, the seats are very spacious too. This is still average. In the Ganwu auction, the seating space for each person was incredible. And there were 3 million seats. You couldn't even see the end of the meeting hall. Luo Feng said softly to Hong, silence. A thick booming voice resounded. Immediately, the entire hall went silent. All that could be seen was a man dressed in a silver long robe, who appeared at the highest podium at the front of the hall. His gaze swept past the 100,100 people below him. These were all the geniuses that made it through the elimination, the people that made it through the Ganwu universe country's elimination, 100,100 of you. The man in the silver long robe pointed beside him and immediately a screen appeared with images of people. These 100 are the first of each world. Hence they immediately get awarded a spot in the final name list, and are eligible to represent the Ganwu universe country, and go take part in the pinnacle fights against other countries. For the remaining 100,000. There are only 900 slots left on the list. the arena battles, are separated into the arena war and the 1v1 battles. The silver-robed man continued to speak. We'll first eliminate 90,000 people through arena war. The 100,000 will break into 1,000 groups, and every group will have 100. Each group will engage in mass battles on the arena, and the final remaining 10 are the ones that will be considered to have passed the arena war. Once you've passed the arena war, there will be only 10,000 of you left. These 900 slots will be filled from these 10,000. After the war, the 1v1 battles will begin. The silver long-robed man's gaze swept past the 100,100 geniuses below him as discussions were rampant. The arena war, actually eliminating 90,000 people at one go. Too vicious, I heard. Hong said softly, that last time the Black Dragon Mountain Empire was completely eliminated in the arena war, without anyone making it into the top 10, 000, HM. Luo Feng nodded. During the elimination, I barely made it into the top 1001. This arena war's elimination efficiency is extremely high. Hong said softly. Luo Feng replied, Big brother, in a war it's really hard to say. You still have hopes of making it through the war. Then it'll come down to the 1v1 battles. Suddenly a screen appeared before every genius in the meeting hall. On it were numbers from 1 to 1000, etc. See the number before you. That is your group. The silver long-robed man roared. Tomorrow will mark the beginning of the arena war. The first 200 groups will start tomorrow, and the entire war will last for 5 days and end after that. Luo Feng looked at the number before him, 382, while his big brother Hong beside was in group 161. I wish all of you will be able to make it through the arena wars. The silver long-robed man's voice resounded throughout the entire meeting hall. We'll now send everybody off, go get prepared. When the 100,100 geniuses within the meeting hall all suddenly vanished. China year 2066 July 17th, the date of the arena fights. In the previous stage within the 100 worlds, there was no live broadcast. This led to the Ganwu universe countries over 1.3 trillion star fields, with countless universe citizens being completely anxious and nervous. After all, they could only see the rankings and not the battle itself. The start of the arena fights, however, was open for people to actually watch and spectate. This led to the sale of the arena tickets being extremely competitive, as they were selling like hotcakes. The arena wars were separated into 1,000 groups. And 200 groups would battle every day. The first day was the first group to group 200. The 3 Black Dragon Mountain Empire participants that made it through the first round of elimination, Nabini, Hong and Luo Feng, of which Nabini was in group 32, Hong was in group 161, and Luo Feng in group 382. Hence both Nabini and Hong were in the arena wars on the first day, while Luo Feng's group was scheduled for the second day. The virtual universe specially opened up a space, with a vast endless river coursing through it. This extremely wide river that flowed through the entire space filled with islands. Every island had a dojo. These arena fights were to be held in these dojos. Island 01932. Within the dojo, there were countless spectators, and it was impossible to see the end of them. Amongst the spectators were Luo Feng, Hong, Thunder God and their families. There's way too many people. Daddy, this dojo is huge. Ping Ping, who had his hair combed neatly as it parted down the middle, exclaimed, The area of the dojo is about 100 square kilometers. Luo Feng smiled. It can hold a maximum of 1 billion spectators. 1 billion. Ping Ping and Little Hai, the 2 children, were shocked. Actually, just a football stadium on Earth could hold up to 100,000 people. In this kind of space created just by the virtual universe, with huge dojos on every island, while accommodating 1 billion people was an easy thing to do. Compared to a football stadium on Earth, its area was at least 100 to a few hundreds of times bigger in length and width. Sister-in-law. Sitting behind, Shugang laughed. This arena battle has just begun and we rushed to get the tickets, however we still failed to get any. Luckily you have tickets, otherwise we'd have to watch the broadcast. It is very competitive. My office workers too haven't been able to get tickets. Luo Hua nodded. There's over 100 million galaxies in the entire Ganwu universe country. From each and every galaxy, even if just 10 people bought the tickets, it is more than enough for the tickets to become sold out. Luo Feng said, naturally, the sale will be intense. Vic brother and I made it through the elimination. Hence we have the privilege to buy first. This is the only reason we got a few tens of tickets. Just one ticket alone was hard to get. The atmosphere in the dojo was incredibly passionate. 1 billion people from over 100 million galaxies all gathered together. Just what kind of scene was it? Fortunately, it was in the virtual universe. If this was in the real world, just the number of staff members required to manage them would be troublesome. Attention all. A sweet and clear voice resounded throughout the billion spectators' ears. The humans from Earth in the stands turned to look. Standing in the center of the dojo was a smoking hot brown-haired young lady dressed in a tight armor. As the distance was too far, the spectators couldn't even see her clearly. Hence, in mid-air a huge virtual image appeared, allowing the spectators to see clearly. The battle that's about to begin will be the 32nd group in the arena wars. Let me introduce the 100 geniuses from the 32nd group. 1 St. Long Suo, from the Boya Empire. Previously, in the 82nd world, he was ranked 12. The beautiful brown-haired young lady's clear voice resounded in the 1 billion spectators' ears. Beside the current screen, a second screen floated in mid-air and the image, as well as simple information regarding the genius Long Suo was displayed. Long Suo. Long Suo. The entire dojo suddenly burst out in cheers. All that could be seen was a large portion of the dojo was filled with people going crazy and cheering, shouting out loudly Long Suo's name. Their cheers resounded like thunder. 2 ND, third the geniuses were all introduced one by one. Finally that brown-haired lady smiled and said, Number 86, Nabini, from the Black Dragon Mountain Empire. Previously, in the 21st world he was ranked 860. Beside, the screen displayed Nabini's image and information. Rumble Luo Feng felt as though his surroundings had exploded or something. Cheers that rumbled even the mountains and seas were heard as a large portion of the spectators around him were excitedly cheering, Nabini, Nabini. The cheers sounded as loud as thunder. Immersed in such an environment, it caused many to be unable to help but cheer and shout along. Ping Ping and Little Hai beside were waving their fists too, shouting till their faces turned red, Nabini, Nabini. Everybody's cheering like crazy. Luo Feng, Hong and Thunder God all laughed. The arrangement of the spectators was in accordance to the star field they came from. Hence, Luo Feng's surroundings were all spectators from the Black Dragon Mountain star field. And the participant geniuses and the various star fields they came from would all get special privileges when they bought the tickets. According to theory, with 1 billion tickets sold among the many star fields, every star field would not even get 100,000 tickets. However, if the star field had an active participant, then that star field was allowed 1 million tickets. Because of Nabini's participation, the Black Dragon Mountain star field was awarded 1 million tickets. This was the reason why there were 1 million citizens from the Black Dragon Mountain Empire in the audience. The previous cheers belonged to the other star fields. But now that the participant from the Black Dragon Mountain star field was announced, these 1 million people all excitedly shouted and roared. 1 million people cheering, it was like an ocean altogether. This Nabini is quite handsome. Thunder God said softly and laughed. Nabini had a pigtail, and his entire person seemed like a leopard. I've checked his background, it's not bad. Hong lifted his wrist and the screen on it displayed a bit of Nabini's background. Oh. Luo Feng looked at it. Nabini was originally from an aboriginal planet, leading a savage life of eat, or be eaten, and battled against wild beasts from a young age. Actually, this planet was one of the territories of the Palace family, and it was specially used to cultivate special beasts that were used for training and war. Secretly monitoring this planet, the family discovered that there was a child who actually had shocking power. They immediately knew he was a treasure. They immediately sent people to take this Nabini aboriginal away. Since then, Nabini had stepped into the civilized ways of society, and very quickly became a citizen of the empire. Somehow, he also became somewhat of a young master within the Palace family. The Palace family, a business family that owned a few tens of life planet territory, was not much in the vast universe. Ironically, the Palace family had offended a few enemies and aggravated a few large and powerful families to attack them, and the enemies actually had universe-level warriors. In a galaxy, a universe-level warrior was considered the land's emperor. The Palace family thus began to crumble. This battle, however, attracted the attention of a wandering sector lord. During the battle, that sector lord had noticed that Nabini had amazing talent and immediately stepped in to stop the slaughter. The sector lord's intervention made it so that the enemy family were too terrified to even resist, hence the Palace family survived. The sector lord took in Nabini as his disciple and brought him to the Black Dragon Mountain sacred land. Since then, Nabini lived in the sacred land and the rate of his strength increase grew even faster. He was the Black Dragon Mountain sacred land's most exceptional genius, aboriginal. Luo Feng exclaimed, "Actually we too are aboriginals, right?" Hong nodded. "I realized that I have a good feeling about this Nabini." Thunder God chuckled. During Luo Feng and his brother's conversation, that beautiful lady in the center of the dojo was revving up the crowd and atmosphere, excitedly shouting, "Attention all! Attention all! The arena wars will begin immediately. Everybody, please count down together with me for those in anticipation of this pinnacle genius battle. 10, 9, 8, 3, 2, 1. Rumble." The entire dojo erupted and in the center human silhouettes appeared. It was the 100 geniuses that were introduced to everyone before from the different star fields, Nabini, Chi Ti La Ku, Long Suo. Different cheers immediately erupted within the dojo. The cheers and roars of the dojo were almost like a shockwave. Luo Feng took one look and noticed Nabini amidst the 100. With a pigtail, his gaze was fierce, almost like a hunting cheetah. He carried 2 long and narrow blades on his back. He was also cautious and prudent as he paid attention to everybody. Let the war begin. A low voice resounded within the 1 billion spectators and the participants' minds. Silence. The dojo was suddenly silent, and the 100 geniuses in the center too made their moves immediately. Beams of lights lit up as the geniuses all dodged and moved swiftly. The unleashed domains too caused the entire dojo to be covered in multicolored radiance. The colorful energy waves revolved about, and the geniuses were all either dodging and fleeing or exchanging blows. Everything was as fast as lightning. The war was very dangerous, because one had to defend against sneak attacks. That Nabini is sly indeed. From the spectators, Thunder God's eyes gleamed. It doesn't matter. Every single one of them are just as clever. Luo Feng's eyebrows creased. The space in which the geniuses were battling in was constantly shrinking, forcing those on flying spirit weapons to have no way to flee far enough. The geniuses were constantly dying off. The number of deaths rose constantly. 8, 14, 29, 36. This caused the 1 billion audience members of many star fields to watch with bated breaths, some even with long sighs. However, the intense battle still caused everybody to hold their breaths and not make any loud noises. Nabini held his two blades, and his entire person became a gust of wind as he madly defended against the enemy's spirit weapon. When Nabini was engaged with this other spirit reader, from the distance another genius flew over, simultaneously controlling a cone spirit weapon to become a beam of lightning and shooting over. With the lightning shooting over, Nabini dodged while using his left blade to block. The lightning caused Nabini's left blade to be knocked away, and he revealed a look of shock. That strength, it's too strong. That lightning followed closely and pierced through his forehead. Nabini died. The number of deaths swiftly continued to rise. 73, 78, 82, 89, 90. The 30-second group arena war has ended. The number of dead and eliminated is 90. The remaining 10 have the right to enter the 900 slots name list. A low voice resounded within the 10 survivors and 1 billion spectators. All the spectators in the stands finally let out all sorts of noises, be it sighs, rage, or even excited cheers. Nabini has been eliminated. Thunder God shook his head. His strength belonged to the lowest of the 100. The only reason why he survived past the first half was because he was sly and clever. Hong shook his head. Being eliminated too is normal. I'm afraid I wouldn't do much better than him. Thank you for watching.